Empezar así, ¿ok? Voy a empezar así porque yo tengo estas ideas y para casi todo es difícil a entender cómo yo puedo hablar en español bien fácil. Y lo que está en Jamaica tenemos un idioma, un lenguaje, se llama patois. Patois. Y patois es una mezcla de lenguajes o idiomas indígenas, españoles, ingleses y franceses. Entonces, ¿ok? Tienes que entender que en patois hablamos bien rápidos, ¿ok? Y entonces, cuando estamos bien entusiasmadas, we, we speak very rapidly, very rapidly. So, I am making an effort here to be as transparent as possible. And so, part of that includes me sharing in my authenticity moments like this. I guess I'm deciding that I'm going to upload this directly how it is. So, this is Rev Ma, Very Joy. And I am on IG as Your Unique Journey. I used to be on IG as Rainbow Conduit. I am now on Twitter as Rainbow Conduit. I am still on Patreon as Rainbow Conduit. Patreon.com/Rainbow Conduit. It is called The Goddess Well. And so I'm going to attempt to make this as short as possible. This is apparently the sermon for the day. And I'm going to attempt to make this as short as possible so that I can upload it to Patreon directly. And so I'm just going to get straight to it. So when I was first talking, I was speaking in Spanish, and I was explaining about the fact that in Spanish, in the history of what we know about people who speak the Spanish language, people who we tend to call Hispanics, people who speak Spanish, people who have historically spoke Spanish. When we say people who have historically spoken Spanish, we have to recognize that people who live in Jamaica also make up that group. And so for me, I have reclaimed the fact that I have ancestors that identify themselves to me in the spirit world, identify themselves to me as being from the land of Jamaica, and they speak to me in Spanish. And they also speak to me in another language that is indecipherable to me because I haven't learned it in this tongue, in this conscious self. So that's my big mask off. This is why I talk the way I talk and stuff. And so something interesting to consider is that I had an obsession with speaking the Spanish language long before I even knew that we had Spanish ancestry, or justifiably, that I had a justifiable interest in the Spanish language. That was a big moment for my family and for me when we all had this recognition that I was interested in speaking Spanish before my mother even knew that we had ancestors that spoke Spanish. My aunt told me that my great-grandmother, my father's mother, was Cuban. And my father, we call him Popsicle. He's the father of the family in Jamaica. And so I call him Pops, right? Popsicle. And so he is first generation Chinese, Cuban, Jamaican. He's his father is Chinese and his mother is Cuban. And there's some really cool stories there's some really cool saucy stories about colonization and stuff, and language acquisition and stuff with that. And so, to keep it short, because I want to stay focused on this specific part of the story about my experience with Spanish. And so, Spanish is one of the languages that makes up what we call patois, which is similar to Ebonics. And so patois is on the record in the language books as being a mix of English, Spanish, French, and indigenous languages. So, yeah, that's it with you for a minute. And so what I have been experiencing is an ancestral call in Jamaica. And I am notorious for that in my family, actually, for wanting to know about the natural herbal remedies. And wanting them to send me herbs from Jamaica, and now giving them shit because they're telling me that because of the way the U.S. is acting about bringing plants in and stuff, they're being stupid, so they can't even send me dried stuff. And I'm like, oh, damn it, fucking U.S. Okay, I digress, because I am now cursing in something I'm intending to put up in public. So I'm attempting to be with the flow of this, and coming back into really wanting to acknowledge my own ancestry as I move into, or some of my perspective that I feel is relevant to some of the comments I'm about to make in response to a message that I just received from this sir, and so I asked him for permission. Haven't received a response yet, but I asked him for permission to turn this into a reel. I did not ask for his permission to turn this into a message for my sermon, because that response and demand and request came from my spirit. So, oh God. Needless to say, I'm pretty fucking furious, and but I really just wanted to be concise and consolidate myself in this moment and just practice. Because I think that responding to people who are asking for feedback is really important. And for me, I have made myself available to be of service. And so in responding to this and speaking from a space of collectiveness and responding to this from a space of collectiveness, because that's one of the things that I've practiced doing that I want to be transparent about, is that whenever I'm responding to anything, whenever I am deciding how I am going to respond to anything, I am aware that the person or the message that I am responding to is a message that represents a collective, a group of not only people, but a group of thoughts, etc. And this is important to consider as you take in what I'm going to say. So I'm going to read these words. Please put your hand on your heart. I won't give you a trigger warning if you didn't already feel it. Here's a trigger warning, because you will likely be upset because it is patriarchal violence. So, we're witnessing. So, if a female cannot text, in quotes, or voice message, in quotes, her man at work or at any time and turn him on, She got a lot to learn and a lot to consider working on. Hashtag big OOMANTING. Most people just say, "Oh, turn it off. I don't want to deal with it." However, for me, personally, when I see a message that is in all caps, I'm old school. I feel like that's a cry for help. So, since somehow I have decided you were worth following for some reason, for some reason I decided I wanted to be available to support you. I am here and available to offer you compassionate, tough love, because if Creator has brought you to me with this message and it has arrived in this manner to my doorstep, to me, to my presence, then that means that compassion and mercy are available for you to help you forgive yourself, because you did not know that there was better, and it's okay. But I'm letting you know that there is better, and there are many who will be available, and I can connect you with them in this message, who will be available to connect with you and offer you messages that allow for you to be in a better place so that you can love yourself more, hon. Really love yourself more. Expect more from what you share. Expect more from what you share. And love you more. May you receive this as the prayer that it is. Many blessings.